order, and welcome to this, the Select Committee's second session in our Digital Centre of Government inquiry. And today we welcome leaders in local government digitalisation and digital transformation. And I'm going to put one question to both of our witnesses and ask you to introduce yourself when you first speak. And so my question to start our session is, how has your local authority used technology to improve service delivery? So I'll start with you, Councillor Gordon.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning, everyone. I'm Councillor Sunita Gordon, and I'm lead member for Resources and Finance at London Borough of Sutton. So we have been on a journey like most councils, and the way we are using technology is moving from analogue onto digital, and I will give you a short example of how we've done it in social care. So aging population is something we are all very much aware of, and this is our intention is to keep people at home as long as they can live independently. So with that in mind, we have created tech-enabled tools. So basically, if I call it just a sensor that measures, so we agree with the resident and we put this sensor in their home. They can have 2 or 3 sensors that learns about the person's behaviour. How frequently do they get up? Do they make tea every 3 hours, every 2 hours, etc.? And it learns that pattern. That pattern is then recorded with the agency, who monitors it 24/7 that they're okay. So any day that they don't tend to get up, say after 2 hours, it's 3 hours, it automatically sends a little alert. And the alert means somebody can then contact them, the first responder, and if they have fallen down or something has happened, then we have people on the ground who can go and see them and help them get on with their day. So thank you, Chair. I'll hand over to Phil if he would like to add something.
Thank you, Councillor. So I'm Phil Rubens. I'm Digital Services Manager at West Berkshire Council. My local authority has used technology to deliver a wide range of public services. So we're involved with central government on open digital planning with MHCLG to sort of transform planning services, not only in the back office, but also what's offered online. We're part of the Minute pilot, which is with DSIT, which is 25 councils are involved in that. And that's to transcribe and write up minutes and reports. We are working on accelerating reform in adult social care with central government as well. Away from central government, we're using artificial intelligence to detect potholes, translate documents, which has saved literally tens of thousands of pounds every year, draft job adverts, and even an AI policy assistant for social care professionals to help them interpret policy, keeping a human in the loop at all times. We've introduced digital permits, digital tip booking, and internal processes as well around the onboarding process for new staff. The backbone of delivering public services locally really is supported by systems that we might buy off the shelf still, though. So HR systems and IT systems and other systems across the board. So that's an overview of what we've been doing at West Berkshire.
Thank you very much. That's really valuable insight into the range of applications which you're using technology. Social care, potholes, writing of minutes, and the in-house development versus as well as buying in technological solutions. Can I just ask you each to say a little bit about sort of the development process for the technology application? So what kind of, how you build in safeguards, for example, around user data, and in the social care application there, the data of the social care, vulnerable people must be well safeguarded, and how you decide, how you evaluate the success or otherwise of these new tools. And again, I'll start with Councillor Gordon.
Thank you, Chair. So if I carry on with the example I gave you earlier, we have complete safeguards in place. So there is always a little fear from the resident that you're going to be filming me, and the families are always concerned. So we explain to them exactly what it is. We have our own safeguarding policies that our people follow very clearly. This equipment that I'm talking about, we've developed it with a commercial partner, and the commercial partner would sign up to exactly the same protocols as we have internally. We are very, very mindful that it is people's dignity, and at the end of the day, data doesn't decide, data just informs what could be the next step. So we use that very carefully, the data. It helps us in a way that I can say so far we've had over 1,200 proactive interventions. We've detected 506 falls, 636 hospital discharges, so where the person is coming out and they're vulnerable, we will have this equipment in their house before they come home, and it's literally within 24 hours in some cases. And 802 responder visits. So it is the ethical AI. Sutton aligns with UK's algorithmic transparency standards. So we are in line with what is the right thing to do. And the AI that's used, it's just learning, it's not watching. And it learns through moisture. I think I'll hand over to Phil to talk about his side on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
So if we use the Minute pilot as an example that we're working with DSIT with, internally, the sort of assurances that I needed to get were from our data protection officer. So I had to do a full data privacy impact assessment and get that through the data protection officer. So she was assured that the data was being stored correctly. Qualities impact assessment, one of our directors needed to sign that off. Consent forms and all other sort of the statutory pieces that are there to make sure that the data is being used correctly and according to the legislation. One thing that the Minute pilot has thrown up with the other councils is that there are 25 different processes in 25 different councils to get that approved, even though the legislation is the same. So it's very slightly different interpretation, and that means that councils can kind of be onboarded at different speeds. That's not a criticism of DSIT in any way, that's just an observation on the different processes in different councils. In respect of the sort of wider thing, I have been working with and my council has been working with the Local Government Association on looking at adopting the service standard within councils, and there will be a paper published on that very shortly that the committee might be interested in, on how the local government might adopt the central government or the service standard.
Yes, I'm very interested in that, and I think it's interesting to hear that there are 25 different ways of implementing minutes, and there are 382 councils or unitary authorities across the UK. So we have a great, I imagine, I haven't studied it, but I'm sure we will be doing so as part of this inquiry. There is a great deal of variation in how national and regional national legislation is implemented.
It can be subtle nuances and not a huge amount of, everyone's still following the legislation.
Yes.
But just interpreted slightly different ways. So the format of the different things you need to fill in might be slightly different, and the hoops you need to jump through might be very slightly different. But that's why the sort of councils work at different speeds on the same thing, basically.
Those are exactly the kind of challenges of implementing technology across different environments and processes. Right, I think I'll go to Alison now.
Well, we've touched on a couple of sort of the wider challenges to implementing technologies, but if you have a technology in your local authority and you are moving to implement it, what are the challenges you face? And I'll go to you first, Phil.
So the challenges may be lack of resource to do that. I think the blueprint highlighted that the local government digital teams and local government were amongst the smallest. I think in proportion of workforce, I think from memory it was sort of 2% when the blueprint said they should be at 4% ideally. The skills in-house to be able to do that as well, so not just quantity but quality of being able to do new things, and buy-in from other bits of the authority as well to do that. So to get around that, we sort of looked at starting small, so not implementing a whole thing at once, selling the thing to be able to, so bits of the colleagues across the council and members of the council can understand what we're trying to do, and sort of using technology to make the case for other things we might do with practical examples.
Come back to skills in a second. Councillor Gordon.
Well, we are uniquely a digital-first authority, so it is quite embedded within our workforce that IT is there. I consider digital as a fourth utility. Now, how can you go around every day without it? So our challenges are often resources, finance. With local authorities going through a number of years of austerity, any reform you put in and you bring in digital, and then that subsequently can provide efficiencies, but it is having that upfront money first to create that. So our plans are fairly solid, and we have a roadmap of what we are going to do from year to year and how we are going to, as technology changes every 6 months, how we're looking at AI. These days, AI, if you put it on a bun, people will buy it. AI is a great thing, but AI used badly can not bring about the results that you want. So it is about understanding what technology is out there and then honing it for our needs, which can be unique. But I will absolutely agree with Phil that sometimes the 26 different ways of doing the same thing can lead to inefficiencies in public sector. So sharing of a blueprint, sharing amongst councils, we are quite lucky, we're a London council, so we've got Lottie. Lottie do share with us, but it would be nice to learn from all the neighbours. So thank you.
Well, I'll come to digital skills next then, because it seems to link in quite well with your previous answer. So there's about 59% of local government employees don't lack the basic, all of the basic IT skills. So upskilling is really, really important. Nervous about protecting jobs, so you upskill workers. And you said about AI used badly. So I was quite intrigued when you said that you use algorithms to develop job adverts. And I'm thinking, well, how are you designing your prompts to make sure that those job adverts are not biased and so on? So there's a real skill about those. So how are you approaching digitally upskilling your staff, and both in basic skills but also in these newer, more advanced skills?
Shall I come in first? We have a rolling programme of courses that our staff can do, and they can be online, and where necessary, if the business case allows, it can be in person, because we have small amount of money that we have to use efficiently. I don't think our authority used to be 4,000 in 2010, 4,000 workforce strong. It is now 1,200. So you can imagine the churn has meant that the people who are still working are very agile and they're open to learning. So we don't use algorithmic sort of job ads. We don't do that. We tend to sort of go to traditional jobs. So Phil.
Yes, similar to that, really. It's also Learning at Work Week at West Berkshire Council this week, so there's a number of sessions that employees can join on. One's on AI, lots of technology-based stuff, obviously not just that as well. But also a rolling programme of when we're introducing things, engaging with people and making sure they understand and can ask questions as well about how we're implementing things.
Do you struggle to fill vacancies for IT technical staff?
We, yes, local government is competing against the private sector.
Yeah.
I think we all know that perhaps not speaking about my council specifically, but speaking generally, the pay in the public sector, specifically local government, is less than the private sector.
That's a real challenge to implement. And finally, and there's a lot of attention built on the citizen experience, the shiny user interfaces for engaging, but a lot of these developments can be built on very shaky foundational technology and software and hardware systems, and you've got some legacy systems. How are you facing the challenges of those legacy systems that provide real weaknesses for cyber attack and various other types of failures? So what challenges are you doing dealing with those?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we obviously there are programs from central government and funding as well to help with that. We've adopted some of that in West Berkshire, and other councils will do as well. I think legacy systems are a big problem in moving away, not just from a security point of view, but from a data point of view, and just how do we move from those sort of old clunky outdated systems to do things differently and in a new and innovative way. It can be a real problem, but perhaps not from a security point of view, I don't think.
Okay, and Councillor Gordon?
From our point, this is before the pandemic, we managed to move all of our legacy systems. There was sort of servers on site which are going on cloud now. As we speak, the transition is happening, but before the pandemic, we were absolutely set with people being able to access their work if they weren't in the office, so to speak. So there was less of a reliance on that. We've spent, being a digital first authority, Sutton has spent a lot of money in making sure that we do live up to that standard. If I can use a word, and that is, most of our systems are in, we are a Google authority, I would say. So everything is in the cloud. I can work anywhere, I can access anywhere, anything. So, but if I do need a modern desktop, I have logins that I can do that. Yes. No matter how much money you spend, there will always be something that gets phased out. Technology doubles and triples itself in every 6 months. So it is, for me, technology can be seen like maintaining a very large garden. You get one bed in order and weeds are growing 3 beds down. So it's a constant churn, and money's always the key in all of this.
I love the gardening analogy. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Alison. Kit?
Pursuing the theme that you mentioned about central government, what assistance and involvement do you have with GDS? And is there are you participating in this sprint to kind of get you involved?
Not a huge amount at the moment. I mean,
Phil, could you just speak into the mic a bit more, because I can do it.
Not a huge amount at the moment. We have been involved with, I personally have been involved with hundreds of officers in Theo Blackwell's sprint. I know he probably knows most of the service stations around England at the moment,
right?
As well as doing online as well. We have been involved in that, and I know he's putting together his proposals around that. So councils have been, not just my own, but other councils as well, have been very involved in that sprint, if that's the sprint you're talking about. Yeah.
But other than that, not much from GDS?
No, not a huge amount. I mean, it's only really recently that, I don't want to be too rude about them, but GDS have discovered that local government is a thing, and health is a thing as well, NHS partners as well. They've been very good at working in central government, perhaps less so with local government. There have been things along the way, sort of Verify, that perhaps didn't work so well. But other than that, the incubator for artificial intelligence is part of DSIT, though, which is part of, GDS is part of DSIT now. So they are, and the other tools that the incubator are starting to roll out as well as sort of pilots as well. There is a realisation that local government actually is a thing, and we deliver hundreds of services to people locally.
Can I ask, how kind of fundamental is the rethink of your structure? Because it sounds from what you've said so far as if you're digitising or applying new approaches on a kind of piecemeal basis, dividing the council up service by service, rather than looking at the kind of fundamental foundation of overall delivery and then bolting things on top. Would that be a fair summary of what you've told us so far?
I think it, if you remember, I said starting small and moving up from there. So take the AI policy assistant, for example. We rolled that out in adult social care, but we're now looking to see how we can use that across the council for perhaps planning or HR policies for staff. The other things around sort of permits and booking things, we've rolled that out across the council, so not just sort of booking at your local household waste recycling centre, but booking events, doing that electronically, and I think 95% of those are done online.
Okay.
So I just picked out sort of specific examples, but we are doing those widely across the council.
Right. And so, just if I may, final question, just a slightly self-interested one. If, for example, on your recycling centres, you digitise, so, for example, at Newtown Road, you don't have to have a person standing on the gate with an iPad and a thing charging me £9 a time as a Hampshire resident to go to your tip, which is the closest one to my house. Will I get the saving, or will you?
Won't comment on that, unfortunately. That would be down to the finance.
Down to the finance function. £9. All my residents are wincing at the moment. It's either that or a 25-mile round trip to Andover.
Yeah, be down to the waste management team and the finance function.
I'm sure you'll get the benefit one way or another, whether it's direct or through the bills. But it's good to hear that digitalisation is helping you in your waste disposal.
Thank you.
Help to keep the council tax bills down.
Yes,
I don't benefit from that because I'm not a resident. They're just over the board, you see, which is why we have to pay £9 to go to the tip. West Berkshire residents get it for free.
You're lucky we don't even let Torbay residents into the tip.
We've uncovered a can of worms.
Can I, it's hard to follow on from that, but I just want to, there's a new AI and Advanced Analytics Directorate that has been established in the Department for Housing, Communities and Local Government, and you talked about engagement with DSIT. This directorate is focused on data standards, data mobility, some very relevant areas. Have you engaged with that at all?
May I come in? And no.
Sorry, like short, simple and direct answers. Okay, thank you for that. Now I'm going to go to...
Give a short answer, which is yes.
Oh yes, you have engaged with them.
Yes, just an initial conversation with them as well. I think they are still sort of looking at with the sort of future plans in mind and the blueprint in mind, looking at what might happen. But yes, we've engaged with them. Yeah.
Great, thanks very much. Martin, can I come to you next?
Thank you, Chair. May I draw attention to my register of interests as I remain I haven't managed to get rid of my last councillorship, so I'm still on district council, and digital transformation is one of the things that I was looking after within that council. So we came from, this is Teignbridge District Council, we came from a background of relatively siloed services and systems purchased by those services. I'm interested in how you're tackling integration between services so you can have common payment for car park permits or for other bits and pieces or those sorts of services. Are you looking towards what sort of tools will help you towards integration as you move through your legacy systems and are looking at procurement of new systems?
Shall I come in first? Thank you for your question. And because we have done all of that at Sutton, so it's all electronic and people can pay with various ways, various credit cards and payment sort of bits that they have. We have always been resident-centric, user-centric, so all of our service design has been user-centric. So we put the person in the middle and see what they want. So looking at how I behave in a commercial world, I want that replicated at the council. It shouldn't be something antiquated and different. If I can pay with whatever credit card or PayPal or whatever I'm using, council should be able to do the same. And that is the road we've gone down. And I can say I'm sure we have some legacy systems. I'm looking at one of my officers, but we are sure, we know where they are and the purpose that they're serving, but they're not stopping innovation in the council for us. So.
I think your question asked what would help as well, and one of the things identified in the blueprint was common data standards and taxonomies, because that tends to be the issue, getting data out from one to the other system when you're updating something, or even getting systems to talk to each other. So that would be something that would really help. Specifically with payments there, of course, there's GovPay, but I know some councils do struggle to adopt that. So some specific help around that. And of course, one login as well. Councils can't use one login at the moment. Being able to use that within council services to provide that common identity across different council and central government services would be really useful as well, I think.
These are things that I've been doing this professionally for private companies for 40 years, and these are things we've struggled all the way through and, are getting to grips with. What sort of things, I mean, we talk data structure and taxonomies, which is nice in terminology. How do you think that will help implement where you're buying in off-the-shelf systems? Is this something you will be putting into your requirements, and what do you need to be able to do that?
I think it will help because it makes it much easier to share data and move from one system to another. If every time there was a new piece of legislation, alongside that there was the data standards and taxonomies defined with that, then it becomes a lot easier. And it's a lot easier for sort of innovators who are building new, more sort of agile technology to come along, and councils and I guess everyone to use that, because you're sort of not locked into the older vendor's product by not being able to get the data out. Obviously APIs as well are a huge thing there. So even if you are using and you still want to sort of maintain that legacy product, being able to get that data out and use it securely in other ways would be really useful as well.
Can I just come in there and say on the API side of things, if you look at social care market and if you see amount of money we spend as local authorities in social care, the percentage of budget each authority has, I think everyone is in a similar situation. That market has got a monopoly or a duopoly. That stops innovation. And API plays a great role in that, because we cannot get the data out to run AI learning on it, to understand how our residents are behaving and at what point, what intervention, so it enables us to plan going forward. We can't do any of that.
Delighted you recognise the importance of APIs. Do you think the standards for these should be defined by individual councils, by the LGA, by central government?
Not by individual councils, no, because from my example with Minute, we'd end up 25 different specifications for 25 different councils. So yes, it could be by the LGA, could be by central government, GDS or MHCOG or whoever really, but certainly centrally. And that's the way I'd look to do it.
It sounds like you're also saying, Councillor Gordon, that there should be a requirement on private sector companies which are providing services such as social care to meet API standards.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you're also talking about, perhaps the need for market shaping as well.
Yeah.
There are, if you think about local government as customers, in England there are only 300, and I think it's 317, is it now? Local authorities.
382, I think, but it's good.
Across the UK. Yeah. And in some cases, there's only a couple of vendors, for example, who may sell a council tax system, because it's a very, very niche market, isn't it? Potential of 382 customers. There aren't that many. But what that does is, you, as you said, you do get a duopoly, and in not all areas, in some areas. And I would sort of point to the work around open digital planning